I'm continuing our talk here with Alf Cannan about the budget. You say you got this nice surplus, but of course the health service yet again had to go and have a little bit of a top up. This must continually frustrate you, does it not? That you got your books, you got all this lovely surplus, but then the health service, in particular, not probably the only ones, but having to keep coming back for more.
Well, we recognised this 2 years ago, Paul. That's why we sought Tynwald support to have a significant review of the health service. That's why Sir Jonathan Michael came in. We've now got a report that's been approved by Tynwald, has given us the basis to move forward. We're giving £5 million of funding to the healthcare transformation team to help them get that transformation done. We want to get to this position as soon as possible where Manx Care, the new operations board, if you like, to deliver our healthcare is in place. Like as the health minister has said, there's a number of areas of concern when it comes to health that he has, but we still have to keep the pressure on to ensure that good governance is applied and fiscal discipline is applied when it comes to health services, because frankly you could give it as much money as is possible and it would probably still overspend.
But I ask you every year, this is overspend. You obviously don't want it to overspend, you want it to come in within the budget that's agreed, right?
Well, that's right. So £8 million this year of overspend, which was disappointing. We are giving in total, this budget gives about £14 million of funding to healthcare, £2.2 million of additional new revenue. It's going to get £2.8 million to help with its pay issues. So there's £5 million there. The £5 million I've talked about going to the healthcare transformation. Okay. And of course we've got about £4 million or so of capital projects and direct investment into other areas that will help support delivery of health on this island. We want to get to a position where we have a class-leading healthcare system, and Tynwald's made its opinion clear on that, and Treasury is doing its best at the moment. And of course we recognise that with the implementation of the Sir Jonathan Michael review, there is a call for more funding to be delivered. And that's what we're going to come back to Tynwald with once we've got absolute clarity and a clear vision as to what is required and how services are going to be delivered.
Let's talk about climate change. That was an extra one that probably wasn't in your books even a year ago, was it? I mean, if you found the money, you commit yourself. Tynwald's committed to it.
Well, Tynwald's committed to it. We have put £10 million. We've allocated £10 million of new money this year for climate change, £5 million of revenue, £5 million of capital. That will allow people to get going with delivering our climate change plans. Clearly, there's still, again, we've had a very strong, solid report from Professor Curran, but there's a lot of work to be done around analysing the projects that have got to take place and the costs of those. What's going to be revenue costs, what's going to be infrastructure costs, if you like, how they can be funded. So there's still quite a lot of work to do, but it's very important that we give the right message. Of course, we are right behind this. This government's committed now to the climate change agenda. We want to get on with it, but of course, act in haste, repent in leisure. So there's still quite a lot of work.
Electric cars. There's talk about of starting to tax them more. You're on message with that one?
Well, the DOI will be coming forward with the plans. I don't think. We've got to look ahead to the future. Clearly climate change has got to be paid for. Mm-hmm. In some respects, we just have to have free money around to dish out. So any of these projects, in terms of electric cars, electric charging points, making the island greener, will be brought forward in more detail, either by the Transformation Board or by individual departments where they think they may have a shortfall. So when it comes to cars, for example, clearly as more and more people used to move to electric cars, then there's going to be a shortfall of revenue if we continue to allow that to be completely free of charge. And of course, cars are using the electric cars, or whether they're fuel cars or diesel cars, are using the road. The road surface has to be paid for and maintained and upkept. So, when these sorts of things come forward, departments or the board will be bringing, the Transformation Board will be bringing them forward and make it clear to Tynwald the reasoning behind any decisions.
You want that gas out of the water there, don't you? I bet you've got your eyes on that little number of, that's a big money potential spinner. But at the same time, you're saying we've got climate change. That's not really, a budget issue at the moment.
Okay. These are broader matters for government, and they will be tackled as part. Well, they're going to be tackled as part of any climate change programme, and we'll make sure that everything aligns properly to ensure that climate change is delivered in the best possible way.
Explain that one. Are you saying you want it or you don't want it? I mean, that's revenue, right? I mean, there's gas in Manx waters.
Nobody's actually come to Treasury and told us that we will be delivering X million pounds worth of revenue. I mean, one would make an assumption that would be the case were, in fact, any gas field to be exploited. I think from our perspective, in terms of this budget, we need to make sure that we adhere to at least the sort of forecasts in terms of Professor Curran's report. We've committed to getting proper oversight in terms of the figures that he has alluded to in that report, and we've made £10 million of funding available to get on with the job.
Very quickly, capital projects. I mean, Liverpool landing stage, that's moving on. Are you happy with that?
Well, we've set out a robust programme for our capital finances, and we've tried to prioritise our projects as much as possible. The Liverpool landing stage is a major project that will be taking place predominantly this year. I think £16 million is due to be spent this year on the Liverpool landing stage, and we know the overall cost has crept up slightly in terms of delivering that. But look, capital infrastructure is hugely important, both for now and for the future of this island. It also is positive in that it creates, particularly obviously money that's being spent on Ireland, creates jobs and puts money back into the local economy. So it is an economic driver as well as a social driver as well. I'm very happy with the way the capital programme has been prioritised. I think we've made a number of changes, both to the way we've looked and scrutinised at capital projects, but the way that it's been presented in the Pink Book, so people can clearly see what departments are.
That's what people need to look at, the Pink Book.
Well, that's what departments are choosing to spend. You know, we all know there's been some issues around the management of these capital projects. But I'm certainly keen that we take a look at that this year. I've asked that we have a review and whether or not it's sensible to have a sort of central projects unit to oversee the control and management of these projects, and one the departments can then go out and get them delivered.
And finally, without going through the Pink Books, I haven't got it here. Is the steam packet now totally yours, and that's not in the budgets anymore? That's bought and paid for, is it, or is that still?
Well, the system. The steam packet is running as a standalone business. There's nothing specific in the budget pertaining to the steam packet. They still clearly owe the government. We have a loan. They have a loan outstanding with the government of some £76 million, and in due course they are likely to repay that. But Tynwald's covered that in quite lengthy detail. They've approved the methodology behind them repaying that money, and we'll wait to hear from the board of directors for further detail in due course. Finally,
I mean, this is the room where you had to deliver it to the rest of your team and such. What was the feeling in the waters when you came? I mean, I know you get together sort of things to all put your bits in, but was there a good feeling in this room?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, council and ministers, people have individual views, but the key thing is we're united behind the priorities of this government, and particularly when it comes to finances. We want sustainable finances. We want to make sure that we are going to certainly have in place solid finances for the future. We'll have eliminated a large part of the deficit come the end of this administration.
Because you've only got one more to go, right?
We'll be putting money back into our reserves. So from the island's perspective, the people of this island can be certain that our finances are in the proper place. We're also absolutely key of the other two key drivers of what we set out to do was to redress some of the social problems that we were facing, some of the social inequalities. We've set out to do that. We're absolutely united on that.
Got one more,
and we're also on the delivering a strong economy for this island.
One more budget in this administration for you, is that right?
Well, in my job, Paul, you take it day by day. We work incredibly hard to make sure that, as I said, we've got the right finances for the future.
You're happy with the position?
I look forward, I hope, to continuing to deliver for this island and to ensure that we have the proper fiscal management, but we're allocating our money in the best way possible to ensure both future growth and a sustainable future for everybody.